everyone. Very good evening. My name is Sunil Reddy. I am the business manager at International School of Belgium. I'm working in Belgium for last 10 years right now, and my main role in my profile is around to manage the finance and the HR part of the organization. Because of that, I had been talking to Indian Confluence, and I've been very happy to take this initiative and participate into these programs and provide my views and advice or information about the payroll in Belgium. Uh, Before starting further, I would like to start sharing my screen so that I can start with my presentation. Can you all see my screen? It's fine.
Yep,
Yes,
yes.
Sunil. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just make it full screen for you all. Okay. Um, so as I mentioned, I'm working for the International School of Belgium. This school is located in Aartselaar, which is outside of Antwerp. We cover students from Antwerp, Mechelen, and Brussels. Majority of our students are again from the expat center. So I get all this type of queries a lot. I do sometimes advise to our potential families also regarding the how the Belgium works, how it looks into the pay slips, how the salaries works and the taxes and every time. Every time that I meet, this is one of the queries like many expat families raise to me. Just going further, what I'm going to cover in the payslip contents, because you need to understand like what exactly the payslip actually provides you the information of. The first is the company details of the employer and the employee details and the basic information, gross and net salary calculations, tax-free allowances, which is calculated after the taxes, employer's contribution. This is very crucial. I'll come to this topic because it's very important to understand like how the total gross salary is being covered. And then the period of monthly calculation, because it depends on how many days you have been worked in that particular month. And it's mostly from Monday to Thursday, Monday to Friday for some of them, Monday to Saturday to some of those. Before I decode the pay slip in detail, I just wanted to explain in one slide about the expat salary pay slip and a local contract pay slip. This is just an example, a recent one from the month of January. The left side over here, you can see it's an expat salary pay slip, and this is the Belgian salary pay slip. What is the difference in between these two is just one, which is the social security contribution. Here in Belgium, it's mandatory for every employee, if you're on a local contract, to pay the social security contribution. But whereas for the expats contracts, especially when you have been moving from another country to over here from the same company, and there is some what you call a bilateral connections between India. For example, here it's an Indian community mostly. So it's between India and Belgium. They have a collateral agreement where employer doesn't need to pay, or even employee doesn't need to pay social security over here for the first 5 years until they enter into the local contracts. And other than the social security, instead of social security that you're paying in Belgium, you need to pay your provident fund in India. For that, you will be getting a COC application documentation that I think most of you all know about it. That is one of the major difference between the expats and the local contract pay slips. That is one of them, but again, the taxes also differ slightly on it. Coming to the payslip, for the first top part of the payslip, what actually it covers. This is very crucial while while calculating the gross and the net salary calculations, because a family situation is very important to understand, because a family person, an individual, for example, someone earning a gross salary of 1,000, or a family member earning gross salary of 1,000 with some dependents, they both have a different salary taxes calculations. The social security will be remaining the same, but the taxes are different. Here in this slide, you can see the information about your company and the employee and the period for which it has been calculated, this taxes. And in the basic calculation information, this is very crucial where they look into it. Like, okay, date of birth, just to know about your age group, start date. Again, you can see here too, start date and the date that you started in your organization. Start date is something that like you're starting in Belgium, and start date in organization is something that if you're an expat coming from another country over here, uh, that they look into the date from the day that you have been joined in that organization. Next comes like the dependents, which plays a very crucial role because they have to also know, like, who all are dependents on your salary, either your partner or your children or anyone else, which are directly dependent on you. Again, the dependents again differ into two sectors who are like, who are like, if you say like, they're fine, they don't have any issues with the health and everything, and then there comes the disability. That means like someone who is like really need 100% support from your side. Here, joint sector committee, because this is something for the local Belgian companies, you have to register with the RSZ, which is the social security. So your company, every company has like a specific code where you are automatically joined in as a union member of the employment Belgian laws. Employment contracts, again, this can be deferred because here I'm taking this consideration where people normally work 38 hours per week, which is a full-time equivalent to of the contract. There are many people over here in Belgium, they also work on a part-time basis, which is very common. And it was even surprising for me when I came to Belgium, like in 2012, when I saw like various people working in different time frame, like, someone working only 4 days, someone working 3 days, someone even working 4.5 days, which is not common practice in a lot of countries. But here in Belgium, I think it is more flexible on that side. Going to the next slide. This is what exactly they take into consideration to calculate your taxes and social security contributions. The first thing that they calculate, you need to look into it, is full-time basic wage is the same. It can differ only when there are particular holidays that you are taking or unemployed leaves. For example, like a child sickness, or like, right now with the corona, there are like a lot of regulations have been changing day by day where some people cannot be employed. So then there are specific codes that have been put up over here. So 780 is basically full-time basic wage. 100 is maintained as a day that you're working. And there are some other days called as like code 50, which is like a sick leave. Code 249, that means you are on holidays. 230, which are your legal entitled holidays. And then 220 is something which is like any legal holidays that the Belgian country has. And every employee is entitled to take that day off. Other than the gross salary, there are other benefits that the employer contributes to the employee, like, for example, providing a laptop. They also need to come declare that. If you don't declare, then there is a high taxes on that. And also like a telephone or a telephone subscription, plus also the company car, which I didn't mention over here with the company car because it's again a big discussion that you need to go through it. So on this total gross salary, your social security has been calculated. There's a survey made by OECD, like where you do the calculations. As of 2020, Belgium is still the country with the highest average income tax and tax wage in the world, because Belgium is a country which is mostly the service oriented. That's a reason, like, a lot of taxes you have been contributing towards the government, but you will also get a lot of benefits out of it. Belgian taxes in 3 major ways. First is progressive income tax, which is like withholding tax and advance tax charged on your salary. Social security contribution by the employee, and the social security contribution by the employer. I'll come to all these points in a step by step in the next slides. Okay, here comes social security contribution. It's very important to understand like why we pay social security contributions in Belgium when you are on a local contract. Social Security contribution, first of all, is being charged on the full gross salary of 4,085. A percentage is 13.07. This is mandatory. There is no reduction in the Social Security contribution percentage. It doesn't calculate based on your dependents or the family situation. It's like a fixed cost of 13.07 on your gross salary that you need to contribute to the Social Security, which is called RSZ in Belgium. This Social Security, what are the advantages through this? Like, these deductions are basically used for pensions, unemployment benefits, sickness benefits, child benefits, mutuality. Even in Belgium, like, if you have more than 30 days of sick leave, the first 30 days of sick leave needs to be paid by your employer. And after 30 calendar days of sick leaves, if you're still sick, then your mutuality pays your salary. Why they pay the salary? Because you're contributing your Social Security to Belgium. And that is the reason, like, they will be paying it back to you. And as I said, like, 13.07% is the contribution by any white collar workers in Belgium. So again, Belgium divides the employees into two sectors, white collars and the blue collar workers. White collars are mostly working in the corporate or in the office sectors. Blue collars are mostly like cleaners or like, workers, construction people. Those have been treated as blue collars workers in Belgium. One very important thing that you can understand from Social Security with the current situation of COVID is, when COVID has been, we are going through all the struggles right now, and government said, okay, we will support you with the temporary unemployment situation. Again, this is benefiting only to the people who are paying the Social Security in Belgium. If you are an expat staying over here and not contributing to the Social Security, you're not entitled to get the unemployment benefits from the government because you're not contributing towards the Social Security. They don't consider withholding taxes as your contribution from the Social Security to repay your salary, because that is the taxes that you're paying to stay in Belgium. Withholding tax, this is something, it's very important to go through it. So here in the withholding tax, you can see here, 4,085, as I mentioned, on that you pay the Social Security. Whatever the balance amount is, on that you will be paying the withholding taxes. So again, this withholding tax is not considered as a final amount, because this is an advance tax that has been deducted by your HR or your payroll every month, and then they pay you the net salary. At the end of the calendar year, you will be getting your tax return files from the government. While you submit those documentations, then you can calculate, what is your final taxes, whether you will be getting some money back or whether you need to be paying back. Most of the time, it will be some part of the amount that you will be getting it back from the government, unless and otherwise, where you have some other extra income other than your gross salary. Some of the additional things also you need to consider while calculating withholding taxes. For example, I will provide you some of the examples over here. So here it comes. I hope it's visible for all of you. Here comes, like, these are some of the examples, like company car. When you're getting a company car, like, there's a contribution that the employer pays on behalf of you, which is treated as a benefit in kind. So it is applicable for the withholding taxes. Then you have like a holiday pay or additional holiday pay, or even a holiday pay on termination of the employment. So this means, like, when you're having in Belgium, they are very generous in providing you holiday and a double holiday pays. Not every company provides you the 13.92 month salary, but only 13 months maybe. Some provide 13.92 also. When you're getting those extra salaries, those are counted into your gross, and then the withholding taxes are calculated on it. When you're getting this double holiday or holiday pay, your taxes are slightly higher because your gross income level is increasing. As I mentioned, like, it's very crucial that the family situation plays a very crucial role in calculating your net salary. As for example, like, you're coming with your family to Belgium and you're taking a contract over here, your partner is dependent on you, and you have one child or two children. If you compare like when you don't have a family with you and when you have a family, it makes a very much significant difference in your net salary calculations. It can vary from, for example, in the salary before I showed to you, where I mentioned like, around 3,047 euros was being a net salary takeover based on 4,000 euro salary. That is based on like, you have one partner and two children dependent on you. When you don't have a partner or children dependent on you, your net salary can come up to even less than 2,500 euros instead of 3,050 euros, because there is no dependent on you, and the gross income level will be treated as like, on the different second level of your pay scales. So hence the taxes are also calculated in a different way. Again, as I mentioned, this taxes, whatever has been deducted on your payslip is not final. This is just an advance tax. The final bill is drawn up on the basis of the tax return of the following year. While you're calculating your salary, while you're finalizing your taxes in Belgium, especially with your annual returns, there are various other factors that comes into to calculate your return, full income tax, or your like, other expenses that you wanted to submit. For example, over here, interest on your principal payment of your loan, especially only the home loan, is being accepted. And again, there are various pros and cons for that. So that you can also show it in your declaration. While you declare that, like, again, you may get some money back around between 2,400 to 2,600 euros back on that. Likewise, there is a small gap that they provided on the pension plan. You can add additional pension on your name with a bank or private pension agencies, and it can go up to between 700 to 900 euros, and you will get 30% rebate from the government on that. So those are some of the examples that I would like to highlight, so that like, it can help you in explaining, or like, in adding like what all other things that you can add into your package to make sure that you get some good returns of your gross salary. This tool, something that I use it very regularly to share to my own employees, like, while making a job offer, for example. It's called Brutto Netto calculations. That means gross salary to the net salary, what the employee can expect. So when they're calculating that, like, this is the link. When you click on it, it will follow to the Aseta website, which is one of our payroll in Belgium. You can put the information over there, like, okay, you are an employee, you're married or you're not married, you have a dependent, your wife or husband is working or not working, and you have a children, either one or two, and then you submit. Then it will automatically calculate what will be your social security contribution and what will be your approximate withholding taxes and what will be your net pay takeover. Again, this net pay, whatever it shows on this link, is just the net only on the gross salary. As I mentioned, like, Belgium is very generous in providing you some tax-free allowances also, which I'll come to the next slide on that. Tax-free allowances is something that the government wants the employers to offer to the employees. Here you can see that like there's various other costs that you can reimburse at no charge of taxes on it. For example, cost reimbursements, any cost that you have been incurred, you can reimburse back by sharing your pay slips, the expense slips, or even they calculate like, how much expense you are incurring while doing some extra works for the company. Transportation over here, they pay 70 to 75% transportation allowances for coming from home to office or back. Again, like, this transportation is divided into three sectors, whether you're coming by public transportation, by car, or by bicycle. If you're coming by bicycle, you'll be getting 150% allowances compared to like if you're coming by public transport or by car. Car would be one of the lowest one that you would be getting in. Other contributions, other tax-free allowances that you can gain is, I'll be explained over here. Again, as I mentioned, like the public transport, like you can take up to 380 euros per annum. Mileage allowances, you can also calculate, you can negotiate with your employer and just calculate the number of kilometers that you're spending every month if you're using your own car, not the company car. And then you can get those amount as a reimbursement from the company. That brings to like, what is my net pay? So basically gross salary minus social security minus withholding taxes plus the tax-free allowances is equivalent to my net pay that I'm collecting from every month from my gross salary. However, like, there is something that I would like to explain over here, because as I mentioned, like there are 3 different type of taxes that have been contributed to the Belgian government from the salaries. One is the income tax, one is the social security, and the third part is the employer's contribution from the social security. So employer contributes 25% on the gross salary of the employee to RSZ, which is the social security. So here you can see after your salaries have been paid, there is another tab which explains the employer's contribution. So for example, here I mentioned like it's around 4,070 euros is the gross salary. On that, 25% is been contributed by the employer towards the social security and paid to the RSZ every month. And second, other tax-free allowances that you can get it is the meal vouchers. So meal vouchers is called as also like Sodexo lunch vouchers. Maximum that you can get is 8 euros per day, and it is paid only on a working day. And if you are on a holidays, you will not be getting entitled for that because you are on a holiday and you're not working. It is paid only on each working day. What is the maximum contribution? Because employee should be contributing minimum 1.09%, 1.09 of those 8 euros, and the employer can contribute maximum 6.91. There are some companies who only provide 6 euros per day or 7 euros per day. And the maximum that employer can contribute is 8 euros per day. Here I'm showing you like 8 euros is the maximum that has been paid by the employer to the employee. And the calculation is like there were 21 days. Out of 21 days in January, 1 day was a public holiday. So 20 days the employee worked. On that, 6.91 is the contribution by the employer to the employee. And this is not shown on your payslip in your net income. This is an additional, because this amount is not paid onto your bank account, but this is credited to your Sodexo card, which you can use it in different supermarkets or restaurants. This can be used only for your food expenses, not for anything else. And also another allowances, which is like tax-free paid by the employer to the employees, is the eco checks. So Sodexo meal vouchers, the food checks are for the food, eco checks are for all the eco products that you can buy. This is calculated on a pro rata basis of number of months that you have worked in a calendar year. Mostly a lot of companies pay at the end of December or mid of December for that particular calendar year. They calculate on a pro rata basis from when you have been joined, or if you are a full-time employee for many years, the maximum that you get is 250 euros per annum. As I mentioned, like social security contribution by the employer is 25% on the gross salary, 6.91 euros per meal vouchers. Group insurance is something very important. This is something like an hospitality insurance also, which is covered up by the employer. Not every employer provides this, but like most of the employees do provide it because it's a good tax-free allowances for all the employees. And you can use this, and this would help to join in any hospital for any reasons, like if a child is sick for one night or more, or your partner is expecting a child, you're staying in the hospital for 1 week, 10 days, whole maternity thing is being covered by this group, by the hospitalization insurance. Group insurance, there are two things. Group hospitalization insurance is something that is covered for the hospital sector. Group insurance is more like covered for like, additional security of the employee, because if an employee is traveling from home to work and back, This is home to work and back. The employee is 100% insured to make sure that, like, all the damages are covered from this. Carbon dioxide tax on company cars, that's an additional income. As I mentioned over here, like, it's just purely informative only, and but not calculated in the net pay. Okay, I'll come to the last slide because I'm looking at the time frame too. This is the last part of the pay slip because this is based on these days and the working structure. The gross salary and the net taxes are calculated. So how code 100 means that you're working. Code 220 means it's a legal holiday because code 100 you can see here on Friday 1st of January. It's a legal holiday. It's been from code 100 you're not working, so it's changed to 0 hours that you're not working, but it's moved over here saying that, like, it's a 220, which is a legal holiday, but you're still entitled to get the paid. Sometimes you may get over here like a code of 7482 that you're taking a leave, which is not justified, and the employer doesn't need to pay. So for that day, those informations will be also mentioned over here. What is the benefit by paying high taxes in Belgium? These are the 4 sectors that you need to be very keen to look into it, like healthcare, public transport, education, and the retirement plan. These are very crucial for every family members or every human being in today's world. And a lot of things have been covered at a very reasonable price, or even at free of cost by the Belgian government in Belgium. For example, education, 12% of the total revenue has been allocated towards education. Belgium education is free of cost for either in Dutch or in the French languages, or even German, because Belgium is 3 different languages. Of course, the international schools are different because they are a private fee-paying charges. Retirement plan, like 1/5 of the total taxes goes into the pensions. And the pensions are being paid only after the age of 65 plus, because until 65, that's the age rise of today that you need to work in Belgium. I'm just slightly rushing up here looking at the time frame, but again, you have all the slides that you can be receiving it after this presentation. I hope this is much clearer, and you got all the information about how the payslip works, what all benefits, what all taxes that we have been paying in Belgium. And any further questions, I'm happy to answer back to you as much as possible. And if I can't answer for any particular specific questions, that I will get back to you very shortly. Over to you, Sailesh.
Thanks, Sunil, for this insightful presentation. We have received a flood of questions. So we'll start with first. The first question is from Harika. When you say dependents, can that be considered also a non-working partner?
Yes. So basically, dependent is like a non-working partners. That means, like, when you're working and you have a partner who is not working in Belgium, but, like, they have to, they are dependent on someone else to get their daily, expenses and everything. So that, like, the partner who is working can show your non-working partner as a dependent on your payslip. And even children come under as a dependent. And it can divide, because, like, you can divide, like, if you have 2 children, you can divide also between one and the other.
Thanks, Sunil. Harika, hope it solves it. Moving on to the next question from SG. Does one get tax deduction for mortgage on income tax in Brussels?
Yes. So mortgage, if you're taking a mortgage loan, and the principal and the interest which you pay, interest is deductible, but not for the full. The maximum that they are saying right now, it varies from each sector in Belgium, but definitely, like, I cannot give you the exact figure how much it will be, because there are new laws that have been also started from last year, where if you have your first apartment and if you're taking a second one, then you cannot take those interest deducted from your taxes. From your gross salaries. But from the first apartment, if you're staying in that apartment and if you're paying a loan for that particular apartment, then you can deduct part of the interest from your gross salary. That would be maximum, I think, around 2,400 to 2,600 euros per annum. This one will not be shown on your payslip, but you can declare it while you're doing your annual returns.
Thanks, Sunil. We have received few questions during the week.
Okay.
The first question is from, I'm a banking employee working locally in Brussels. Is there any minimum wage that is defined?
In Belgium, the minimum wage is not defined based on the sectors. It's on like, as a white collar and the blue collars. That is how they look into it. The minimum wage, yeah, it is very low. If you count it as, it's around 1,600 euros per month. We count it as around 23 to 24,000 euros is the minimum wage. But on an average, you have to count it. I think as an expert, when you come over here, if you need a single permit on a local contract job, you need to have a minimum wage of 42,000 euros. That is the minimum expectations by the government. And for that, you need to also have like a highly scaled employee, because the employer needs to prove that that they cannot get this employee from Belgium and then they are recruiting from another place. For that thing, you need to show 42,000. Otherwise, if you're recruiting an employee from Belgium, where you are already residing in Belgium and you have like a long-term residency card, which is not dependent based on your expat contract, or like you have a Belgian citizenship, then there is the minimum wage is 1,600 euros per month.
Yeah, thanks, Sunil. Another question is that we have received, what is the concept of 13th month salary?
Yeah, it's an interesting topic actually, because a lot of people will be thinking, what is this 13th month? 13th month is basically a lot of companies, what they do, the 13th month is also calculated in the 12 months, and they divide that into 12 months. But a lot of companies also pay the 13th month separately in the month of December. They call it as, very traditionally, they call it as like a Christmas bonus. So it is calculated based on your working time frame for that particular calendar year. Please be very careful on this. Don't go through your contract thing. That if you, for example, you started from June and then your contract ends in May. Okay, why I'm not getting the full 13th month in December? Because you need to be, they calculated based on the pro rata basis. The pro rata basis is calculated from January to December. If you worked for the full 12 months, then you will get the 13th month paid in the month of December, along with your December salary. Again, as I mentioned, it would be around 60% taxes on it because your gross income is increasing for that particular month. I hope it's clear.
Yeah. Moving to the next question. There are a few income tax related questions which I will cover later. Regarding to the salary slip, there's one from Sri Lakshmi. Our partner is working in Belgium and paying taxes. Will this affect the taxation anyway for
her? A partner is working in Belgium and
paying
partner is paying taxes in Belgium. Okay.
Yeah.
So
and will this affect her taxation anyway?
She is also working in Belgium. That's the point.
Consider both.
She is working.
Yeah, if she...
They both need to declare the taxes together. So as I mentioned, like, when you're working in your when you get a job, you need to explain your family situation. It's very important. It's called Dimona. When you fill in the Dimona form, you have to mention, okay, I'm taking this job, but okay, I have a partner who is also working. You have to share that information. While you share that information, the HR or your payroll office will automatically calculate the taxes based on stating that, like, okay, you are married, you have a partner, but the partner is also working. So your taxes calculations will be slightly higher because there is no dependent on you. It depends on what is your total gross income. At the end of the calendar year, when you get in the month of January, February, when you get your annual returns document from the tax office, you and your partner both needs to declare your taxes together. So while you declare, then you can calculate and see, like, what is the final calculations.
Thanks, Sunil. Sri Lakshmi, I hope it's clear. The next question is from Vijay. He is a normal Belgian employee. He's not an expert. is a local employer. Regarding the retirement plan, I think he is living can he remove the 20% of the amount before the age 65? It means he can withdraw the amount if he's leaving Belgium and going to India completely.
Yes, no, you will not be getting it direct from the government. You will not be receiving it. But if you have any additional retirement pension that has been contributed by your employer every month, that amount at the end of your contract when you're moving out, you can collect that. But the retirement benefit is basically paid only after the retirement of your age in Belgium. So if you wanted to take that benefit, you have to wait until the retirement time from the Belgian Social Security. But as I said, like, the retirement pension, any additional fund that employer contributes or he himself contributes in Belgium, that money that you can withdraw. And you have to pay a small 20% around, I feel it's a taxes on that.
Hope Vijay, this solves your question. Moving to more questions on the income tax side. It's from Malaika. She's an expat status here. She regularly uses FNO strategies for hedging equity portfolio. Would her profits be taxed?
So I'm just reading that I'm an expat tax status here and regularly.
Okay, let me clarify.
Yeah.
So what I'm confused about is where will it be taxed? Will it be taxed here in Belgium? Will it be taxed in India?
If you are earning those income over here in Belgium, then it will be taxed over here. You have to pay your taxes over here. If you're earning in India and you're on an expat status, then you have to declare in India.
Okay.
I hope Appu and Malika it solves the question. Moving on to next, another question from Vijay. How to reduce the income tax? Maybe we can take up this in the next session, but Sunil, if you are okay, if you can share some light with the latest work from home situation and this without involving the employer in reducing the income tax.
Reducing the income tax, I think, as I mentioned, like there are only a few sectors that you can look into it. Income tax reduction is purely based on your family situation and your gross income. Income tax, that's a reason like Belgian government is slightly generous in giving you some additional tax-free allowances. Talking about the reduction in the income tax, I think it is not possible because like it all depends only on your family situation. Like if your family members are dependent on you, then your income tax reduces. Your partner is not working and you have one child, two children, three, even sometimes they have 4 children over here. So when you have 4 children, like, it's almost like to 0% of tax that you're paying. Only the Social Security contribution is mandatory, which is fixed or 13.07%. But coming to the income tax, no, I think it is very hard to reduce it. Again, as I mentioned, like, some of the tax-free allowances that you have to take into consideration to get more net income into your pocket. Like the shows, like as I mentioned, the company car is one of the best option. Meal vouchers, you get 8 euros per day, which is equivalent to 160 euros per month. You have meal eco checks. You have like, tax-free allowances for some reimbursement in the cost that you can negotiate. The maximum that it can be contributed is 150 euros per month. These are the type of things that you can get it, like, like internet or telephones. These have been provided by the company. A nominal amount has been shown on your tax, on your gross pay, which is like 3 to 4 euros or 6 euros, but you can get the 100% reimbursed from your company, but only like 6 to 3 euros is being charged in your gross salary as a taxes. I think these are the things that you can benefit from getting less taxes, but unfortunately, like, you cannot go in detail or you cannot try to reduce your taxes because this all depends on your gross salary income. As high your gross salary goes up, as high your taxes will be. That is the reason, like, it's better to look into other tax-free allowances in Belgium.
Okay, we are almost time up. So within 3 minutes, the session would be over. So team, if any of your questions are not being answered, don't worry, we'll send the feedback through mail. Taking the last question for the day, if you are on local contract, do you need to declare the interest amount paid in India, or also do you need to file ITR in India? It's more from the income tax perspective.
Yeah, I am reading that. Can we also file the home loan taken in India during tax return here in Belgium? Will it affect? No, you cannot declare that in Belgium because that is not the property is not in Belgium. So you cannot show that declaration over here. Then comes the other point was like if you're on a local contract, do you need to declare the interest amount paid in India? Also, do you still need file ITR in India? Okay, you don't file it in Belgium again. Okay, in India, yes, because you can file it because you're still if you are a citizen of India, then of course you can declare it. You should be declaring it over here because it depends on the income that you are generating from the interest. Sorry, I'm a bit confused on that. Do you need to declare the interest amount paid in India? No, you don't declare it over here. And also, do you still need to file ITR in India? Income tax return in India, you don't need to file it unless and otherwise if your income is, if you're generating some income in India, for example, like, from a rental part, or if you're getting another subsidized income from another sector, if you're providing your consultancy or if you're getting some other wage salary from the same company in India, but your basic salary is high, then you can also declare over there. But mostly you declare your income tax in Belgium.
Thanks, Sunil.
Yes.
That was a very interactive session. I request all the attendees to do join our Indian Confluence group. Stay connected to Facebook and our event page for more such updates. Don't worry, if any of the question is remaining, we'll get back to you on mail. Thank you all for very active participation. Thanks, Sunil, for providing a very generous insights on PCM.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sailesh.
Thank you,
for
Sunil.
organizing this Indian Confluence diaspora, to providing all this information. Because again, I am here as an expat. I came in and I'm been settled here. I'm staying here for a long term now. So whatever I could contribute, I will do my best for our Indian community and for the other expats staying in Belgium. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you all. We'll be closing the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Good day all.